Hello and welcome to the Total Soccer Show. My name is Daryl Grove and I'm joined by a man who lives for the international break. His name is Taylor Rockwell. Hello.
Hello. So we're starting with lies, are we? Is that how we're beginning?
Do you not live for the international break?
I do not.
You do not? Oh, I thought because our show is heavily US national team focused. I feel like it's where we come alive.
I don't know. I think I'm like burned by FIFA. That there was always that, like, if you're doing FIFA career mode or you're making your own player, there's always that weekend where it's like, oh, and there's no games because it's international break, and that's always boring.
Is that what happens in FIFA career mode when there's no games?
I think if you're doing like play as a player or whatever it is. Again, this is from many years
ago. Is this because your player wasn't good enough to get called up for the national team?
Well, you never are at first if you're just starting out. Like, you wouldn't start with the national team. So yeah, then there's just a weekend where you're like, oh, all right, I guess I'm just hanging out. And I think historically it has been the case that, like, this international date, while it's always nice to see the U.S. play and other national teams play, it has been the case that it sort of is like, yeah, but the season just started. Let's get back to league games.
That is the complaint, right?
It's a little different nowadays because we have the UEFA Nations League,
which
I will admit did make it a bit more exciting.
Hey! Yeah. So we're going to do thumbs up, thumbs down for... I mean, I just researched the UEFA Nations League. Taylor says he's gone beyond that.
Shocking.
He's gone beyond Europe.
You Eurocentric snob.
I am a little bit. Do you want to just get straight to it?
Let's do it.
All right. I'm going to invite you to go first. Thumbs up or thumbs down for the UEFA Nations League. First time we're going to talk about it without having to explain what it is.
I'm going to explain it a little bit because I'm going to say thumbs up to the UEFA Nations League as a whole.
Wow.
One thing I'd like to start off with.
Pinch me. Am I awake?
Well, one thing I hadn't thought about, is Reddit user Dan Temp. I want to give him the credit for pointing out that the thing I continuously forget about is that the results of the UEFA Nations League, it's not just, you might get another shot at qualification or you get bragging rights. There's also the fact that it establishes the seeding for European qualifiers. So for your Euro groups, for Euro qualification, that's why, because I saw some people pointing out, like, well, what happens if you tank? Like, what if you just go down and then you win that one? Suddenly you're going to be playing against weaker opposition, so then you get a chance.
I've heard this theory that maybe like Scotland should try and get relegated to League D so they can then win a group in D and then they'd have a real shot at qualification. It's a terrible idea.
It is, because you're entered into a playoff. It's not like, you won your group, you qualify, and meantime, because you've gone down, your coefficient drops, which means you get put into that much harder of a group as a result.
Yes, and if you did the theoretical Scotland thing that people were talking about, that would mean like basically giving up on Euro 2020 through the League of Nations, because the next League of Nations isn't till 2021. So that would be, that's not just like finishing last in the NFL so you can get the first draft pick. That would be finishing last in the NFL so you can get possibly a first draft pick like 4 years from now. You know what I mean?
That's more or less how it works, sure. And I would say, like, there's definitely still some wrinkles to be ironed out.
I can't believe we started so nerdy.
Well, I'll add this, though. Like it was pointed out, I would say correctly, that the 3-team group format can be problematic because there's a chance that you're going to have a decent amount of dead rubbers for those final few games.
Maybe. We'll find out when we get there.
We will. So that could be an issue. The fact that the head-to-head is the tiebreaker could also be an issue. But it's worth remembering this is the first iteration. They'll tinker with stuff. Not tinkle. That would be a different thing. Tinker with stuff as it goes.
DeMarcus Beasley's not playing anymore.
Yeah, there you go. I don't know what you meant, but sure.
Didn't he relieve himself on the field?
Oh, yeah. Okay, there we go. I think he did. I was like, what? He wear jewelry? Are you thinking like shiny things? Yes. So I think they'll tinker with it. It will continue to get better. But the reason why overall I'm excited, I want to spotlight one game in particular.
All right.
It's Turkey's 3-2 win over Sweden.
I only saw the scoreline. I didn't see any of the game.
That is fine.
Okay. What happened?
Turkey were bad. They went 2-0 down. Away to Sweden, they went 2-0 down.
Where is this League B? That would be my guess.
I think so. It might be League C. I'm not sure. But I will say they go 2-0 down. Hakan Çalhanoğlu scores one on the 51st.
Hakan!
That's great. But then Emre Akbaba subs on, scores in the 88th. You wouldn't. He just signed for Galatasaray this season. Before that, he was playing for a smaller team in Turkey. Scores in the 88th. And the 92nd minute, they win the game 3-2.
It was a Euro 2008 style Turkish comeback.
It sure was.
A Turkish delight.
But it's worth noting that almost certainly does not happen if this isn't a meaningful game. Because if you're 2-0 down at that point, you're going to make 6 subs, you're going to change it up. Maybe you get a goal back, maybe you don't, but it becomes more of a, we're just trying to figure some stuff out for the meaningful fixtures down the road.
Yes.
Because of
this. There's a shot of adrenaline you get when points are at stake.
And
right?
subs matter.
I wish you could talk to 6 months ago, Taylor, when we first had this conversation.
I mean, I still have some skepticism about it, but again, Akbaba is a substitute. They made all 3 subs. The other one, Serdar Güler, was had the assist for the winner. He's a substitute.
Why do I know that name?
I have no idea why you know that name.
Maybe I don't.
I think you probably don't. But I'm just saying, like, that's the type of game that I don't think would have happened if it were just a friendly, but it happened because of the UEFA Nations League. So well done there. And it's worth noting because these two teams are theoretically of similar calibers, and that's what it's all about.
Yeah, there's far fewer mismatches, although we did have some big scorelines, which we'll talk about later. Just to update, League B is where Sweden-Turkey happened. The other team in that group is Russia.
Yep.
It's B2.
Yep.
So for actually reading some coverage of this, I finally figured out how to refer to that. It's like B2, B1, B3. You do the league, then the group, so you can identify the group.
Yes, and speaking of the groups, you probably didn't have this because you've been like more up on this than I've been. Did you have were you surprised at all by some of the teams and where they were?
The stratification?
Yeah, a little bit. Like it was just weird to me. It shouldn't be because they didn't qualify for the World Cup, but it was weird for me to see Italy not in that top tier because that's just where you expect them to be.
And somehow Netherlands were. Right.
Also, that's weird. And also, poor Netherlands.
Italy are not. Italy are in the top 2.
Oh, they are?
Yeah,
okay.
Italy are with Portugal and Poland.
Okay, well, then maybe I'm surprised that Poland are in there.
If listeners can't tell, I've pulled the groups up
there we go.
in front of me.
Yeah, yeah, and poor Netherlands, because that's what, Germany, France, Netherlands?
Yeah,
good luck, guys. Good luck.
Yeah. Can we start there?
Sure.
For me, anyway. Thumbs up to France for their World Cup celebration. So after the 2-1 win over the Netherlands in the UEFA Nations League group, which I don't know.
I think they're A1. Or 1A, whatever it is.
They are, A1. So France drew 0-0.
I don't have the table in front of me. Just throwing that out there.
I'll be honest, I'm very impressed. The first big game was France-Germany 0-0. But apparently it was a good game. I didn't see it. Apparently it was a good game. But then France at home beat the Netherlands 2-1. It was the first game back at home since winning the World Cup. And we can maybe talk about a little bit about the game in a second. But after the game, there was a celebration with players and fans. I've got to be honest, I spent most of my UEFA Nations League research time. Accidentally, I got sucked into watching as many of those videos as I could. As possible. Yeah, it was incredible.
I'm sure the other teams that we won't be talking about will be thrilled to hear that.
I think we'll cover some ground. So I know you've seen this too, right?
Yeah.
But have you seen the many, many different things that happened?
I've seen the one where they're sitting around the table singing the N'Golo Kante song, and he once again is not reacting to it.
Yeah, that's from back in that's not from this game, though, right?
Right. The one from this game is them all proceeding around the field. Yeah, I've seen that one. Yeah. It's pretty great. My wife watched it like 15 times.
So there are at least 3 different things that happened in the France celebration of winning the World Cup, right? So after the 2-1 win of the Netherlands, first they put the World Cup trophy on a little stand next to the tunnel, and then they announced each player from the squad one by one, and the player sort of danced out, did a sort of signature dance type move. Antoine Griezmann did the Fortnite L shape, like chicken dance thing, and then kissed the trophy. And then went out. Every single player got his moment to do that. Then they got N'Golo Kante, kind of got him in the middle, and they sang the N'Golo Kante song, the celebratory N'Golo Kante song, with the fans. And Kante had that big, embarrassed but happy grin on his face that we've all seen a million times and love. And then, this is the part that confused me, but I slowly figured it out. Vegedream? So a French music artist that I don't really know came on and performed.
This is me staring blankly at you.
Yeah, he came on and performed "Ramener la coupe à la maison" with the French national team. This is his song that was a big hit after they won the World Cup, called "Bring the Cup Home," and it's this great song where the chorus is "Bring the Cup Home" and they hold the World Cup in the air, and the verses are celebrations of each individual player. There's a line about Matuidi, a line about Ousmane Dembele.
That may well be. Sounds suspiciously like it's coming home. Just throwing that out there.
I think
throwing that out there.
It may a little bit be in response to that.
Thievery. Copyright infringement.
But this song is great. Yeah. So I wasn't aware of it until seeing that basically live performance with the players and the fans. There's also an original music video that was released late July 2018.
Yep. And I'm sure many French pundits out there hated every moment of what you're talking about.
Why so?
Oh, just because there's the ones who were still who was it? Who was a teammate of Didier Deschamps who came out and said they're more worried about dancing in social media than they are winning the World Cup, and then they won the World Cup. There's a lot of that
and then they can dance on social media with the World Cup.
Yeah, exactly.
So I very much enjoyed that.
All right.
Thank you for indulging me in my French appreciation moments.
No problem.
There were 2 goals in that game. There was a Kylian Mbappe, basically a tap-in at the far post, but he also terrorised the Dutch defence by dribbling at them. Really scared them. And then the second goal for France, which was the winner, was an Olivier Giroud volley. He took one of those Benjamin Mendy really hard crosses. Sometimes he hits a really hard, fast cross. He took it out of the air and volleyed it first time past the Dutch keeper. So thumbs up, Olivier Giroud, still doing it.
And I believe that moved him top all-time, or at least ahead of Zinedine Zidane on the goal-scoring chart
really?
for France.
Yes. Double thumbs up for that.
I believe I'm correct in saying that. I did want to ask you about the Netherlands, because I didn't see this game. Did your once-and-future hero, Matthias de Ligt, play, or was he not involved?
He was one of the starting centre-backs.
Okay.
I'm pretty confident.
And he is actually reverse aging, right? Benjamin Button style. He's like 14 now?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, yeah.
That's what's happening.
Did you see the video a while back of him leading the Ajax fans in the away chant?
No.
I'll have to find that if I can. It's pretty incredible.
While he was playing?
No, it's like after they've, I think either secured qualification to the group stage or they secured a qualification to the next round of qualifying. Yeah. But you don't really know what's happening. He's just like standing by the corner flag, and then he like screams something, and then you don't see them. You just hear like, you know, the 5,000 or whatever fans scream the thing back. It's pretty epic. It's pretty Viking.
International football is the best.
Oh, this is before. This is way before. But yes, it just reminded me that Matthias de Ligt is one of Daryl's players to watch.
He is. Ball-playing centre-back.
Once in future.
The best kind. Final note, I'm editing today's show.
Yes.
I'm publishing. I'm going to put the Vegedream Ramener Le Coupe à la Maison YouTube link in the show notes so our listeners can enjoy it.
I think my favorite part about that is you desperately trying to find the name and artist like on your piece of paper as quickly as you can.
Well, I was really deciding how to pronounce it. I do not have it right.
I thought it was great. Yeah. I loved it.
Where are your thumbs going, Tyler?
I'm going to move us over to Spain's 6-0 win over Croatia. I'm going to say thumbs down to Croatia for, I think, failing to turn up. Maybe they also had the Denmark problem where their players were on strike, so they just fielded a bunch of random people. They were missing quite a few.
I mean, it didn't look that bad to me. There was, what?
You mean the players there,
Modric,
not the results.
Rakitic.
Yeah.
Perisic was
Kalinic
there.
finally returned to score an own goal.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, it wasn't great.
Oh, no, I didn't see that.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, I've got lots of notes on this game, but the general thing...
Was that the Asensio goal that was then given as an own goal? Is that the Kalinic goal? It has to be, right? It's the only
Asensio scored another goal too, so he made up for it and had the 3 assists. So thumbs up to Asensio. I have that one in there because he was the standout performer. But the thing that I noticed with most of the goals was just it was certainly Spain being Spain and moving the ball and causing lots of problems and getting players open. But it felt like Croatia, maybe, but even before the first goal, but certainly after the first couple, we're just like, whatever. Like after that, it was just a lot of like absent-minded defending, and the one that stands out the most.
Vida played, right? Lovren didn't play, but Vida played.
I believe you're correct.
So they had half of a World Cup finalist defense.
And Versalco started the right back. This is what so going back to the World Cup, one of my predictions was that if he gets hurt, Croatia are going to be in trouble. This game exemplified that. He was subbed out in the 20th minute due to injury. Versalco. In came Marco Rog, I think is how you pronounce that. He subbed in. He was their right back. And I want to say for the 6th goal, Isco's goal, Isco makes a very smart run from the left side across the middle, and then he's wide open. He just insteps it home. But if you watch this, it's worth watching just to see Marco Rog not do anything. Isco runs away from him.
Wait, did he just freeze?
It's even better than that. He's with Isco. Isco creates that separation, and Rog does that defensive thing where he just points for someone to mark him and looks around and realizes, like, no, everyone else is marked up. Yeah. He's just left his man. So then he kind of realizes that and does this weird, like, half skip to, like, I'll get to him, and just doesn't even come close. Ball's in the back of the net. But it was just that kind of over and over again. Sergio Ramos' header off of a corner, he's just unmarked. How do you not mark Sergio Ramos? It was so many of these strange moments from a Croatia team that were so disciplined and organized and physical and hardworking in the World Cup. It makes me just feel like maybe this is a little bit of World Cup hangover for them.
That makes sense. On a similar note, I've got thumbs up to Spain under Luis Enrique.
Yeah.
So I saw all of Spain play against England because Spain's first UEFA Nations League game was a 2-1 win over England. Their second was that 6-0 win over Croatia. So Spain are very much top of Group A4 right now.
I don't know if anybody catches them, gotta say.
And I wouldn't be confident in it being England or Croatia based on what I saw. But what I saw from Spain under Luis Enrique was a Spain team that still valued possession, still pressed, but was a lot faster and more direct going forward. So you remember that horrible, slow, turgid experience of watching Spain pass the ball around and not break Russia down. This was a Spain team that played big diagonal balls and took risks and got in behind. And like Danny Carvajal ran at defenders from right back. You know what I mean? It was a really impressive Spain performance.
But it was, I think Enrique himself admitted that it is kind of the spine of the Spanish team right now is built around Madrid players.
That's what I was going to say.
And you could see that for, I forget which goal it was, but it's a long ball. It starts with Sergio Ramos playing.
Against Croatia?
I think it's the first goal. So it's scored by Saul. Seoul. So I guess that's not Real Madrid, but
Seoul. By the way, thumbs up Seoul. He scored the opener for Spain in both games.
There you go.
Seoul from midfield.
And he again drifts past a Croatian defender who's theoretically defending him. But it starts with Sergio Ramos playing like an inch perfect ball from like left center back near midfield all the way across the field to Dani Carvajal, who's standing pretty close to the corner flag. It just drops right onto his foot. He takes a touch, plays it back across, goal to Spain.
Yeah.
Wasn't it like very impressive.
Outside of the foot cross as well. That's what I remember from
that
cross
could
from
be.
Carvajal.
I don't know. They're good. They're good.
They certainly are. Yeah. And worth noting, Carvajal, Real Madrid, right back. Ramos and Nacho were the two centre-backs. Left back switched out. I think there was a Valencia player in the second game, and it was Marcus Alonso of Chelsea in the first game. So, new Spain under Luis Enrique.
Yep,
yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, all right, before we talk England, maybe, who are Spain's first victims, I think is the correct word, I want to introduce a new sponsor to the Total Soccer Show. We still get excited every time there's a new sponsor.
Yeah, we do.
Today's new sponsor is Ministry of Supply. They make scientifically better dress clothes.
And they have a super awesome name. I have to say that up front. I've always enjoyed anything that had like ministry in it, like Ministry of Sound. Didn't love their music, but I love that name. Ministry of Silly Walks, a very good one from Monty Python. Ministry of Supply.
You should move to England. Every governmental office is the ministry.
Yeah, maybe that takes away Ministry of Magic. Also very impressive. Yeah.
We do have that in England.
Did lots of good work.
Yeah, keep an eye on the Muggles. Ministry of Supply. Ministry of Supply is a great name. The clothes are not magic.
Nope.
They're based on science.
You beat me to it.
Because the company was founded by MIT grads, so that's how you know that they've got a sound scientific basis.
Not just grads, but engineers.
Is that right?
MIT engineering grads, yeah. And that's why they're making things like the Atlas socks, which I am fascinated by. Coffee-based yarn that's odor-free.
Yes.
I want to know what that is.
I do too, yeah.
I'm assuming it's just coffee beans. It's not. It looks like very fancy woven material.
I'm really, really interested. I might get myself a pair of those, yeah.
Yeah, but it is a lot of, like, future clothing. Like, it's what I would expect, futuristic folks to have. Yeah. It's not the shiny silver jumpsuit. It's clothing like this. It's clothing that uses your body heat to relax wrinkles. So basically, you can run them through the dryer. They come out, and they're ready to be worn.
That would work for me. I am a serial offender of not ironing things.
My biggest problem is I start, especially when we record late, as we're going to today, is like I'll go home and be like, oh yeah, I need to do that laundry. Starts in the washer, put it in the dryer, and then I fall asleep. And so I wake up to it sitting in the dryer for 12 hours, and it's all just a ball of wrinkle. Seems like Ministry of Supply are there to help me with that.
The other thing I'm excited about, especially with all the rain coming to Richmond, is the quick drying clothing. So either your sweat or rain that lands on you will dry.
You're covered for both in Richmond.
Yeah, right.
You're either going to be sweating or rained upon.
Yeah, right now is the time, right?
Yeah.
I got both the other night. It will dry faster than other clothes. I believe after 5 minutes it will dry.
Yes. I mean, maybe not completely. I'm not going to throw that out there. It's like if it's soaking wet, you're probably not going to be perfectly crisp and dry.
In the example they sent us, it was 10 drops of water and they were gone completely dry after 5 minutes. Yeah, that probably doesn't work for a massive deluge, but it'll be drier than if you were wearing something less scientifically engineered.
There we go. Yes, so that's with the Kinetic pants and jacket. They stretch. They've got moisture-wicking, breathable fabric, wrinkle-free. Their founder, Ministry of Supply's founder, set a Guinness World Record for fastest half marathon in a suit wearing this material.
I mean, I wouldn't recommend doing that, but it's impressive that it was possible.
I mean, he clearly got away with it, so I think it works just fine.
Final thing, there is a weird soccer connection to Ministry of Supply. Keisuke Honda. Keisuke Honda is a huge fan of this company, apparently. And if you go on their website, he's all over their website. There's Keisuke Honda.
I have not seen him on there, but I think that's only because I would immediately be looking for the double wristwatch look that he tends to sport. That would be the giveaway for me.
So here's the deal with Ministry of Supply. If you go to ministryofsupply.com/soccer, you've got to go to that URL for us to get the credit, ministryofsupply.com/soccer. Then a box will pop up to enter your email address. If you do that, you will get $10 off your first purchase. So that will be immediately applied when you buy anything from that website. So ministryofsupply.com/soccer. Worth noting, I like to let our listeners in on how our ad deals work. This is a one ad buy from Ministry of Supply, and they've basically said, hey, I want to give it a test, see if your audience responds. If people buy stuff, if it looks like this will be a good relationship, then we'll come back and buy more ads. So that's the situation. This is the one and only ad so far for Ministry of Supply. If people buy stuff in the next week or so, we might be able to get more ads from Ministry of Supply.
Let's hope.
Have I revealed too much? No, we can say that, right?
But it's also, I mean, again, it's worth noting, it's dress clothing, it's dress shirts, it's nice socks, it's nice pants. They've got dresses in there for women as well.
Yes.
They've got lots of options covered.
We always do this, right? Because we're two men, we automatically look at all the men's clothes.
Yes.
But Ministry of Supply is men's clothes and women's clothes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the dress that they are advertising that I saw looked very, very nice, and I have to believe very, very comfortable because it seems like it's very comfortable material. So well done, Ministry of Supply.
Equally scientifically engineered.
Of course.
Yeah. So once again, it's ministryofsupply.com/soccer for $10 off your first purchase. I guess even if it's those $15 coffee socks.
There you go.
We'll put the link in the show notes. Thank you to Ministry of Supply for taking a gamble on the Total Soccer Show.
Yes. All right. We've waited long enough. Talk about England for a while.
Hey, no, see, I don't want to go into it with this attitude. I want to talk about England together. Have you seen the goals, for example?
Yes.
In England, Spain? Okay. Thumbs still up for Gareth Southgate.
Okay.
But just starting to waver a little.
Really?
Yeah.
Ooh.
So England beat Switzerland 1-0 in the friendly, but in the UEFA Nations League game against Spain, took an early lead, immediately conceded the equaliser, like immediately, 1 or 2 minutes, and then ultimately lost the game 2-1. Right? Given what Spain did next, that's not so bad, right?
But given what Switzerland did next, that's not so bad.
True. Oh yeah, I saw that. But there's a lot that's starting to concern me about England. I'm a little worried about how inflexible that formation is, that 5-3-2 that they play. Now, if you go back in time a couple of months, you remember you and I talking about how against Croatia in the World Cup semi-final, the real flaw in England's 5-3-2 emerged, which was if a team had possession and worked it left to right, that midfield three was just left running all over the place and couldn't cover enough ground. Dele Alli doesn't quite fit in that midfield three. All those problems were back, and Spain exploited them.
I see.
Yeah.
So is there a way around this, do you think, or does it require a formation change?
The case that Southgate seems to be making is we're going to keep playing this until we perfect this system. My feeling is that I would prefer to see England switch to something like a 3-4-3, right? So maybe instead of Harry Kane and another striker, it's Harry Kane central, 2 winger/strikers alongside him, and it's just a little bit more flexible. It doesn't seem like Southgate's into that. Yeah.
No.
So I would go for a formation change. Gareth Southgate will not. But because he took an England team that isn't in the top 4 in the world to the World Cup semi-finals, he's still got my only slightly wavering thumbs up. Does that make sense?
It does.
Yeah.
I would also say, feel free to shoot this down because this might be my Man United fandom coming out. Daryl just cocked a gun and pointed at me and already has ink on his hands. Outstanding work, my friend.
My gunny just has ink coming out.
Yeah. It did feel like a little bit of the result was overshadowed by the coverage of Marcus Rashford. Specifically, It feels like a lot of the commentary has been he's got to move from Manchester United. He's either got to move or he's got to start. Like Gary Neville said, he's got to get into one established position and start 100 games. Like he's got to get that under his belt.
In one season?
I think basically in that one position, so it's not he's just constantly shifting and not knowing what to do. Jamie Carragher, not surprisingly, came out and said he needed to move. There were a few other pundits who indicated the same. And it feels like it is still a little bit of the attention on Manchester United and Jose Mourinho and kind of focusing on the drama that is inherent within that club. And so maybe there's less of a microscope on Gareth Southgate because other names and stories will sell papers right now.
I think also with England, the debate is never about the tactics. You know what I'm saying? It's always about
too easy.
Some other drama.
It wouldn't be, but
because you can't put tactical stuff on the back page of the tabloids in England and expect it to move newspapers, right?
Yeah.
It's got to be about
Raheem Sterling's tattoo.
Raheem Sterling's tattoo. Rashford needs to leave.
Yep.
Wayne Rooney should be dropped. Like it's always got to be some drama.
I hope they're not still printing that
instead of tactical tweaks.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, they're still printing Rooney needs to be dropped. They have very weird views about how DC United should pick their lineup.
So with the results that we have, though, so how are you feeling about England right now? It seems, at least right now, they're not in relegation territory.
So that is the thing. I think that's what I'm hoping for out of this is we go away to Croatia next, and I think away to Spain in October. So UEFA Nations League back-to-back. My hope is that it looks like Spain are going to win this group, but I'm hoping England don't fall to Croatia and finish third and bottom and out. Yeah. So that's my hope. But then my other hope is we see some tactical flexibility somewhere along the line.
That works for me. And it's behooves them to finish at least second because again, then it comes down to Euro qualifying and they then become, I believe, one of the seeded teams as opposed to dropping down and having to play one of the seeded teams.
Can I give a quick thumbs up, thumbs down to Luke Shaw?
You may.
Did you see England's goal?
Yeah.
England's goal, I don't know if this makes the highlights, but the goal starts with him making a saving headed tackle. So Harry Maguire trips. I think Aspas is almost in on goal. Luke Shaw comes from left wing back, charging in, has like a half diving header, intercepts, heads the ball out wide. From there, a move starts, moves through John Stones. England play the ball. I think it goes into Harry Kane. Harry Kane spreads it out wide, and Luke Shaw is bombed down the left wing. Then he puts in that beautiful low cross/pass for Rashford at the far post. It was peak Luke Shaw. It was a reminder of what a great player Luke Shaw is.
Yep.
And then the thumbs down. Have you seen Spain's equaliser?
Oh, I'm very curious about the thumbs down on this one. Go ahead.
All right, so you're thinking about the possible concussion thing, right?
He was out. He was unconscious.
Yes, that was in the second.
I was like, are you going to give him thumbs down for getting knocked out?
That was in the second half. This was all in the first half, right? So immediately after being so integral, to the first goal, where he made the tackle, then made the run, then played the cross in for Rashford's goal, Luke Shaw did an Anthony Robertson type thing, where Spain switched the ball out to Dani Carvajal. And Shaw just overcommits, and Carvajal puts the jets on, leaves Luke Shaw way behind him. That's how the goal comes about. So it was Luke Shaw just essentially doing a basic defensive error, getting beat by Dani Carvajal.
That doesn't sound like him.
It does, though.
Occasionally.
Because he is more of an attacking fullback than anything else, right?
I mean, I think so. It's been a while since we've seen him regularly, but yeah, I think so.
To the concussion, we don't need to get into detail on it, but I want to say thumbs up to the way it was handled. He was basically immediately seen to by medical staff, then immediately subbed off.
Yep.
Right? No messing about, no getting him to carry on. And from what I've read afterwards, he seems to be mostly okay.
Yeah,
right?
I think so.
I think he was handled correctly. No one encouraged him to keep playing. Luke Shaw's going to be fine, hopefully.
Yes.
Because when I first heard the story, I thought maybe this is another one of those terrible Luke Shaw moments where just as things get good, he gets some horrible freak injury.
I do think it was a concussion. It looked to me like he was out before he hit the ground. So I'm guessing we don't see him back from Man United too soon.
Fine, right?
But that's better than, say, a potentially career-ending leg injury again. So, yes.
And my final thing on England-Spain, it's a thumbs up to Sergio Ramos for being a bad madman. So Spain's winning goal comes from a free kick. I can't remember who scores it. It might be Rodrigo after it's crossed in. And everybody appeals for offside, but Sergio Ramos was up to his old tricks again. He did the mean Sergio Ramos thing where he got into a wrestling match with Harry Maguire, who was marking him, but he wrestled Harry Maguire backwards so that Maguire broke the offside line.
I'm sure that there's no bias here at all, by the way.
No, I'm praising Sergio Ramos here. This is like the smart...
I feel like you've used a lot of negative terms to describe what's happening.
I mean, he's mean but smart, right? And this is how he outwits people on a lot of set pieces. And so, I mean, really, it's Harry Maguire's fault for falling for it, right? If Sergio Ramos wants to barrel forward at you and get in a wrestling match, you should let him step offside. Instead, Harry Maguire fell for it, started grappling. He broke the offside line.
Don't engage Sergio Ramos.
Don't engage Sergio Ramos.
But maybe that's what Croatia tried to do, and thus he was able to score a wide open header. So maybe either way, you're in trouble.
Yeah. I feel like you weren't wanting to get into the analysis with me. You were going to accuse me of being an England homer there.
We were going long on England. I'm not gonna lie.
They're the most important team in the world.
Yeah. Wrong. Anything else from England, Spain, or England, Croatia?
I mean, not now.
Or excuse me, not England, Croatia, England, Switzerland? We haven't talked about that one too much. Okay.
No, we're good.
All right.
I've been told that's enough English.
I'm sure many people would happily hear more. But instead, I'm going to take us to Belgium. Belgium 3, Iceland 0. I'm going to say start off with thumbs down to Iceland, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Because this feels a little bit like maybe they've been found out. Great run in the Euros, great-ish, okay-ish performance in the World Cup, but they made it to the World Cup. But it does seem like things have maybe turned.
Well, this was losing 3-0 to Belgium was their best result of the international window.
6-0 to Switzerland.
Yep.
And I don't know why this stands out to me, but 6 different goal scorers for Switzerland. So it wasn't just like, Xherdan Shaqiri was unplayable on the day or something like that. It was just kind of comprehensive beatdown for Iceland. And it makes me think that maybe they've got to kind of go back to the drawing board and figure some things out, because the one that stood out was for Belgium's, I can't remember if it was their first or Lukaku's first or second, but I believe it's Gylfi Sigurdsson just trying to do something on the sideline and just gets the ball poked away by Dries Mertens, who crosses it in, and it's a goal. And it just felt like Iceland had gone from this, we know exactly what we're doing, we know exactly how to execute, to sort of ponderous on the ball and then getting punished for that ponderosity.
Ponderosity. Don't think that's a word, but I like it.
It definitely is a word.
So there's
not a word.
It's a new coach is the one big thing. The
ponderosity?
No. Okay. The Iceland coach from the Euros and the World Cup has stepped down. Eric Hamren is now in charge. And this is the start he got off to, which is pretty rough, right?
Stiff.
So 3-0 to Belgium, 6-0 to Switzerland. They are bottom of Group A2, and it doesn't look good.
It does not.
But I hope they enjoy their time in the top league.
Yeah.
At least for now.
Yeah, let's hope so. But you know what it does look good for?
What's that?
Romelu Lukaku.
Oh, yeah?
For quietly being very, very good. Not really even quietly. It's just that he's one who, I don't know what it is, but we never end up talking about him too much. But his 2 goals in this game, 20 goals in 17 games for Belgium. Yeah. That's a decent return. I think the best of...
What, he's played more than 17 games, though, right?
I think 17, in their last 17
games.
I see,
yeah.
In his last 17 games. 20 goals.
Not too shabby.
And And I felt like the 2 goals he got in this game were a good indicator of why he's been getting those goals, because one is, I think the first one is like a poacher's finish. He's at the 6-yard box. Company heads it. It's saved. Lukaku's there to just kind of pounce on it and put it home. But the second one, the Dries Mertens cross that I mentioned previously, it's him making a very smart run across the 6, and he finishes if I'm facing you, he finishes with the outside of his left and just kind of taps it into the goal while running at the ball.
It's a lot of misdirection.
It's a lot of misdirection.
He's like a magician.
Yeah, and so you get the sort of, I'm here, I'm scoring a goal, but then you also get the, I am tricky and difficult to figure out. So a very good performance from him, a very good performance from Belgium on the whole.
Sometimes he makes himself disappear while playing for Man United. So
sometimes.
He really is a magician.
I'm not sure that's on him.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, Mourinho's the real magician here.
Yeah.
Can I give a thumbs up to Andy Robertson?
You may.
Scotland captain. So League of Nations is a big deal for Scotland because they haven't qualified for a major tournament since, I believe, 1998, right? So for them to do well in, I believe, Group C, is that where they are? Yeah, they're top. They are now top of Group C1 after a 2-0 win over Albania. Liverpool left-back Andy Robertson, this was his first game as captain. Or his first competitive game as captain of Scotland. He played sort of left wing-back, and the highlights I saw, all Scotland's attacks were Andy Robertson either dribbling or 1-2ing and combining down the left and getting really wicked, dangerous crosses in there. He gets the assist on the Naismith goal, Scotland's first goal. He really looked like a captain playing for Scotland.
I mean, if it ain't broke, that makes sense. It is worth noting. So many of the attacks that Liverpool have had this season, it's always going to be the focus on that front 3 and then the creativity and goal scoring come out of the midfield. But it is Trent Alexander-Arnold and the aforementioned Scotsman, who are bombing down those wings, causing problems, creating overloads, and providing service. And it makes sense that he would continue to do that. I think Scotland should be very happy that he's in the form he's in.
And also, I have a soft spot in my heart for Scotland because I keep wanting them to qualify for a tournament, right? Because all the other, Wales have had their Euro 2016 qualification, just Scotland deserve something.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Great stuff from Andy Robertson and a good win for Scotland, 2-0 over Albania.
While we're talking about the home nations...
or Johnny Russell of Sporting KC also played for Scotland in this game. So MLS fans have an interest in the UEFA Nations League through Johnny Russell. Yeah.
You don't have to keep selling it, man. It's here.
What?
You're just MLS fans. Here's a reason to cheer for it.
I just thought Sporting KC fans might be interested that their player was involved in a successful international.
Gotcha. Yes. So then it's also worth noting, since we talked about Scotland, Wales looking good. Ireland, not a home nation, as far as I understand.
No. Not for a long time.
No, they are part of the
and
British...
they should never have been. We did wrong.
They're part of the British Isles, is what I always have to go to.
Yeah.
Yes. Not so good for Ireland. I had a conversation with Kenny, our Irish friend, and he was basically already kind of down on this team.
Really?
Yes.
Wait until he hears you call them a home nation. He'll be coming for you.
No, I was saying, speaking of home nations, Wales is what I was getting to.
Fair enough.
So because they're doing well.
Wales 4, Ireland 1.
Yeah.
This was not good for Ireland.
No.
I don't think Martin O'Neill is long for this job.
He's been there for so long.
He has. Did you hear the Roy Keane controversy as well?
Oh yeah, and then I didn't listen to the WhatsApp conversation that was leaked.
I kind of wish I had now just for the show, but I really remember. So the story was Stephen Ward had recorded a conversation that people were having about Roy Keane, right? When they were relating that Roy Keane essentially uses a lot of nasty swear words and is very abusive and aggressive because he's the assistant manager, very aggressive and abusive to a lot of the Irish players, and that this might be a problem within the Irish team.
Well, then there was a dust-up, though, with him and Jonathan Walters as well.
Oh, is that
That's
right?
the other big part of it, is that I believe Walters was sent home from the camp.
Interesting.
Again, that's from my conversation with Kenny, which ended with me making the point that if anybody knows about sending people home or getting sent home from Ireland duty, it's Roy Keane. Yeah, they got some things to sort out. Even if they get Declan Rice, they've still got some things to sort out.
So this game, Wales v Ireland, was my Nations League debut. It's the first game I watched.
You got your cap there?
I got my first Nations League cap. Wales 4, Ireland 1. I've got thumbs up to Ethan Ampadu.
Yep.
You know who this is?
I do.
So Chelsea defender / midfielder. I believe he's either 17 or 18.
Or 12. I always go younger. Whenever we don't know. It err on the side of youth.
He started in defensive midfield for Wales, and in this 4-1 win, he was absolutely key for keeping the ball moving, one-touch passes, spraying the ball around. He was the absolute hub of a really impressive Welsh performance with Ryan Giggs as the coach and lots of exciting young players like David Brooks, who we talked about before the season started. So really exciting performance from Wales with Ethan Ampadu in the middle of it.
There's also that other fella that people might be aware of.
Gareth Bale?
That'd be the one.
He did all right.
He did all right.
His goal was something. Yeah. He did a classic Bale, dribble, bend it from the top of the box.
It's really, it makes me really happy because obviously they did very well in the Euros, but for so long it felt like Wales should be better than they were.
Yeah.
And really that was because they had Craig Bellamy and Ryan Giggs, and I enjoyed both of them, but Ryan Giggs never played for Wales. Mm-hmm. So it's nice to see them coached by Ryan Giggs, but putting together some very nice attacking talent that's young and ready to go, but then you still have established players around them. It feels like a good team that could make another run at the Euros.
Yep. Sometimes Ferguson calls Giggs and tells him not to go to the Wales games, and now he says no. Now he says, no, I'm going. This is happening.
You're talking about a night, sir.
Also, it's worth pointing out that there's a story that's emerged that Ethan Ampadu is the English Jonathan Gonzalez.
Well, how do you mean?
Did you read this? So Ampadu is sort of Welsh and English, and apparently England kept not calling him up for their youth teams. Even his club coach, when he was on loan somewhere, literally called the FA and said, hey, this kid, I've been watching him play. We need to get this kid in the England system. And he was told, we have 12 players in that position better than him.
I mean, they're not wrong, probably, but it's still one that right now they have 12 players better. Mm-hmm. 6 years from now, they probably won't.
Yep. So Ethan Ampadu is England's loss, Wales' gain.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
Worth noting, though, on that note, Ampadu did not do so well against Denmark.
Not so much.
So in the next game, the UEFA Nations League game, Wales lost 2-0 to Denmark.
The actual Denmark team, it's worth noting.
Do you want to talk about that?
Kind of. I still don't fully understand what happened.
Okay, so there was a dispute between the Denmark national team and the Danish FA about essentially commercial rights, right? So the Danish team just said, all right, fine, we're going on strike till you agree to our terms. They went on strike, and so for the first game in the international window, which wasn't Nations League, it was a friendly against Slovakia. It was futsal players from below the Danish second division.
There was some YouTubers in there.
There was so I assume that's a freestyler or something. They just put together a team and they went out there, played Slovakia, lost 3-0.
Yeah.
And I think because the Danish players held out, as I understand it, they sort of won the battle. The Danish FA either agreed to terms or agreed to future discussions on the terms. I think the Danish players are going to get what they want. So thumbs up to Denmark for showing the power of the people.
Yeah. But maybe not getting the message across entirely. I think it was Pione Sisto, showed up at the airport ready to report and then was told, oh, no, that's not happening. We're not going yet. So maybe not everyone got the message, but it seemed like it ended up working out for them.
They kept him on the strike line, at least.
Then maybe Wales will be not so thrilled.
Yeah, do you remember the thing we were talking about with Brazil playing the US, where they always manage to be in between players? Yeah. Christian Eriksen does exactly that.
It's Christian Eriksen.
His goal. It's great to see one of the top players do it, though. Yeah. Do you know the goal I'm talking about?
Yes.
Ethan Ampadu is partly the one that loses him. I think he passes him onto a defender, but then Eriksen doesn't go to the defender. He drifts between the lines, gets the ball, scores.
Christian Eriksen doesn't obey the laws of physics.
That's true.
So you can't really fault the teenager for not knowing what to do.
He invents the laws of physics as they suit him to go along. Yes. And then Ampadu gives away a handball for the second goal. It's a penalty kick.
All right, well, let's talk about happier things. Let's talk about our other sponsor for today.
Today's sponsor is Greats. Greats is the first Brooklyn sneaker company.
They are. I am not wearing my Greats today. Are you wearing yours?
I'm not because I biked here and it's a little rainy and we're playing soccer later and my Greats are far too nice for such activities. My Greats are for looking good.
Yeah, my Greats are white. Not trying to wear them in the rainy, muddy conditions because they will not stay white for very long. But what we did want to do was maybe talk about who else could use a pair of Greats.
Yeah, so who would you, in the world of soccer, Taylor, who would you reward or up their game with by buying them a pair of Greats? And crucially, which pair from Greats.com would you buy?
I'm going to reward Corey Burke of Jamaica. He had a brace in Jamaica's 4-0 CONCACAF Nations League qualifier. Didn't realize that was already happening.
Oh, we'll be talking about that on tomorrow's show.
4-0 win over the Cayman Islands. And I want to give him, because the Reggae Boys unveiled their new kits, both home and away. They are spectacular looking.
They are, aren't they?
So I want to give him the Rosen, but the black, green, and yellow edition of the Rosen, because they're nice and relaxed trainers. I think you could wear them, to a media session, but also they could, just elevate his game a little bit and make him look all the better, which is what he deserves after his brace.
So the Rosen for Corey Burke.
Mm-hmm. I feel like they'd look very good with that Jamaica jersey.
Yeah, all right. I am going to get the Dune Hirsch for Gareth Southgate.
All right.
Here's why.
Does it have little vests all over it?
No, I want Southgate to loosen up a little bit. This is part of me wanting him to maybe relax and try some different tactics. If you see the way Southgate dresses, he's got the waistcoat and the suit, shiny shoes. I think maybe a step towards him, just relaxing and loosening up a little bit, is to not go with shiny shoes, but to get himself some of those nice, is it Hirsch Dune or Dune Hirsch? Dune Hirsch shoes. They're the slightly more suede-y, relaxed looking shoes.
So he's still getting formal dress shoes, though. Or dress shoes.
Dress shoes, but more relaxed dress shoes. You have to shine them up.
I'm just saying maybe he needs some black, yellow, and green shoes.
Oh, that would be
really stand out.
That would be too fast, too far for Gareth Southgate. You got to ease this man in, right? Then, maybe after he wears the Hirsch, he'll unbutton his waistcoat the next week. Then maybe he'll loosen his tie the week after that. We can get him there.
We've gone too far.
We can get him there.
It seems too much. It seems too much. It's too relaxed.
Well, if our listeners would like to pick a pair of great sneakers for themselves or shoes, they can get 15% off their first order at greats.com. 15% off their first order at greats.com if you use the discount code TSS. TSS for 15% off your first order at greats.com.
All right. Thank you to Greats for sponsoring today's episode of the Total Soccer Show. I've got one more Nations League game to get to, and then I've got a few other ones that I wanted to talk about.
All right.
I want to say thumbs down, Nations League thumbs down to Italy. They lost away to Portugal in their opener. Then they drew 1-1 with Poland at home. They had to come from behind to get that point.
Wasn't the comeback they were expecting,
It was
right?
not. Jorginho converted, I believe, the penalty to equalize to get them that point. But it really wasn't the best way to rebound after a disappointing campaign, qualifying campaign, obviously missing the World Cup. And then it felt like it was sort of like false starts a little bit. The one that stands out most in my mind would be Mario Balotelli, who played in that first game against Portugal, lasted 62 minutes, was, I'm going to say, visibly not up to par in terms of shape.
Wait, what? What do you mean? Like overweight?
He was not in shape. Yeah, if you look at him in the past, you could see just a little, maybe a little love handle, a little bit. Roberto, and it's because I think his contract situation wasn't sorted. He wasn't sure when he was going to get a move, if he was going to get a move. So I think he missed out on a lot of preseason training. So it might just be that he just needs a little bit more time to get back into full shape. But you had some pundits out there probably aggressively saying that he looked like 15 stone overweight or 15
stone?
Yes, or 15 kilograms. I think it was 15 stone though, but it might have been 15 kilograms.
15 stone would be double the size of him.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I think it was being a bit dramatic.
I see.
But Mancini himself was like, yeah, he probably needs to work on his fitness a little bit.
So Mancini Balotelli have a long relationship, right?
They do.
It goes through Inter and Man City and now the Italian national team.
And I enjoy Mario Balotelli being in our lives. So I was hoping it would work. I would hope it would be like Mancini Balotelli rediscovering form, listening to Zeppelin in their training sessions and Miley Cyrus apparently.
Really?
That's what Mancini does. He likes music. He thinks it makes it more festive. So I just like this idea of this breath of fresh air into Italy. And instead, they got 1 point from 2 games.
Oh, it's tough. The UEFA Nations League is a tough place to play.
It is indeed.
I've got a thumbs up to Kosovo for their first competitive win.
All right.
2-0 over the Faroe Islands. Kosovo is now top
in your face, Faroe Islands.
Top of D3. So Kosovo, I think, is an interesting national team because they have so many players that could have switched to Kosovo, right, when it was given FIFA status. But Xherdan Shaqiri, Granit Xhaka, all those guys, as much as they have passion for Kosovo, you've already committed to Switzerland, right? It's quite hard to switch back to another team.
I'm sure that's how they would explain it, yes.
Well, but that's part of it, right, that you've already committed. So now there's a whole generation of players that chose Kosovo.
It's worth noting that I believe Shaqiri in the last World Cup, or excuse me, maybe in the Euros, said that there was a possibility he would switch because he wasn't made captain of Switzerland. So it's definitely been discussed before, but it has not happened.
But my big point is that they don't have the famous Kosovan players that you think of, but they do have some players that chose Kosovo and are now representing the national team.
Granit Xhaka's brother.
And they're competing in the UEFA Nations League. One guy worth pointing out is Arba Zanelli. Have you heard of Arba Zanelli?
I have not.
So he scored the first goal in Kosovo's 2-0 win over the Faroes, and it is beautiful. So he's at the top of the box, slightly at an angle, so top left of the box.
I think Egypt would like a word with you about saying the Faroes, but yeah, sure. Fine.
Faroe Islands. Zanelli goes right.
Yep.
He goes left. He goes right again, and he can't shake these two defenders, but he's just got them to move left and right a little bit. He's got them a little bit off balance. And then from the top of the box, he bends it around both of them, beyond the keeper, into the far corner, 1-0 to Kosovo.
I am genuinely surprised that you are praising that goal.
Why is that?
Because that is not the type of goal you usually enjoy. When it's a player just trying to beat two players on his own and then shooting from distance, I feel like if that hadn't come off, you'd be very annoyed.
But I didn't see the times it didn't come off because I only saw the time it did come off, and it's very, very impressive.
So if you're going to do that and you don't want to incur the wrath of Daryl Grove, make sure you score.
Make sure you score it. That's the only video I see. Yeah, but I was just impressed that he tried to shake them and couldn't quite. But I think you would probably say that he made enough separation to get the shot away without actually going past the defenders.
It's a key word, man.
Yeah.
It's a key thing. Anything else from Nations League?
Yes, a thumbs up to the young man who scored the very first goal in the Nations League. I have to look at my paper to pronounce his name because he is from Georgia. His name is Georgi Chakvetadze.
Oh, Chakvetadze, yeah.
Yeah, Georgi Chakvetadze scored the first ever Nations League goal. It was in Georgia's 2-0 away win over Kazakhstan. It was Arjen Robben-esque. It was cutting in from wide and blasting it into the top corner.
That's impressive because, as we all know, Kazakhstan is the greatest country in the world. All other countries
have inferior potassium.
Correct.
I know. So Chakvetadze, 19 years old, plays for Ghent in Belgium. Probably should be in the scouting network. I think he's on our radar now. We're going to have to get him in the scouting network.
All right.
The other reason I'm excited about this game is if you watch the highlights, I watched like the 5-minute highlight package. These fans are into it. Like the Kazakhstan fans, that was the host team. They were like up for this Nations League game. And I think it goes to a thing that I don't think we talked about on the show, but like League D, League C, it's big for these smaller teams.
Yeah.
Because they're now in a group with teams that they theoretically could beat, as opposed to being the worst team in a group and just getting beat up every week by Spain or Italy or something.
Or the whipping boy friendly. Like,
exactly.
We got to get ready to play the Faroe Islands, so we're going to play Kazakhstan or Azerbaijan, so we'll play Kazakhstan.
And there's that possible Euro 20 qualification path on the line. So all these small nations are having these games where it really feels like it means something, and it really feels like we might get a result. And I think maybe I focused too much on the top end of the Nations League and how it affected England. See this show for an example, but where maybe the real effect will be down at the bottom, where these teams get more intense games.
All right, all right. I'm up for that. I'm okay with that. Any more?
No more from me. That's all the Nations League I managed to put my eyes on.
Then I've got some other thumbs up, thumbs down. I'm going to say moving to Brazil's 5-0 win over El Salvador. Number one, it made me feel better about their win over the United States. But I want to say...
It means we're 3 goals better than El Salvador.
Yeah. I want to say thumbs up to Richarlison for the love that he has engendered. He has 2 goals against El Salvador. One is an in-step finish from outside the box to the top corner, or right near the box to the top corner. It's a beautiful finish. The second one...
He debuted against the US, right? So was this his first start?
I think so.
That makes sense, right?
Yeah. And for a second one, it's a really, really pretty sequence. It's Brazil's 4th goal. Coutinho and Neymar have a 1-2. That is Neymar basically doing like a roulette, and as he's doing the roulette, he passes it back to Coutinho.
I already feel bad for El Salvador.
But theoretically, I think he's aiming... You should. Theoretically, he's aiming for Richarlison. Richarlison's standing in an offside position, and he just walks past it. So then the ball goes to Coutinho, who then tries to go on a dribble. He loses the ball. Richarlison takes the shot first time, scores it. But the thing that I enjoyed...
You can't be offside like that, right? It resets when someone else touches it. Yeah.
But the thing that I enjoyed the most, I couldn't figure out, is I was watching some of the highlights and clips from this game on Reddit, because they post all the good streamable links. And after every single Richarlison goal or play that featured him, the top comment would always just be "Prue." And then the response comment would be "Prue," and you just say "Prue, Prue, 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 Prue" all the way down. And I couldn't figure out why. I looked it up. It's because that's the noise that I guess in Portuguese, or I don't know, a pigeon makes, and everybody just wanted him to do the pigeon dance that he did as his celebration. So people just kept making pigeon noises to try to get him to do the dance, or because they wanted him to do it. But it just felt like everybody, especially Everton fans, lots of Everton fans, very excited to see like one of their players starting and scoring and looking very solid for Brazil, and I think they justifiably should be.
All right. You got anything else for me?
I do. A couple things. One, same from that same game, Neymar. It's the frustrating aspect of Neymar. Gets a yellow for diving, also gets a goal and 3 assists in that game, and his assists are excellent. There's so many great runs, great sequences, but then he has the dive for the yellow, which he said wasn't a dive, but of course he did. Did you see the World Cup? Yeah, exactly. There you go, Yedlin. And then 2 more games I wanted to mention. The first one, Nigeria 2, Liberia 1. I'm sure you heard about this one.
Why did this get your attention?
Because you know, right? No. I'm going to say thumbs up to presidential fitness, because George Weah played 79 minutes in this game.
Excuse me?
Yeah. George Weah, the president of Liberia, played 79 minutes and was involved in several attacking moves. He is the oldest.
Was this like a testimonial or a friendly?
It was just a friendly. It was a friendly with Nigeria to prepare them for their upcoming African Cup of Nations qualifiers. I think some Nigeria pundits were not thrilled about this game, because it was Weah. I think it was like one of his old teammates from Liberia. Weah's 51. I think his strike partner in this game was 48. But it's the oldest game, or oldest ever footballer in a FIFA friendly, if it ends up counting, because I believe one of the 2 teams used like 7 subs. So it might end up being just an unofficial friendly.
This is weird to me.
Oh, yeah.
This could be like FIFA looking into this for governmental interference into the running of the national team,
It's
right?
possible. I believe it was all because they retired.
Like if Putin took the field for Russia, there'd probably be some sort of investigation.
Well, I think there's a little difference between Putin and George Weah.
Because they played different levels.
Yeah. I mean, it's worth noting.
In that one didn't play at all.
This is definitely my ignorance showing. I just kind of assumed George Weah played for another national team. I assumed that he was similar to...
Oh, didn't choose Liberia.
Yeah, I assumed that he played for somebody else where he had eligibility. So then I was like, oh, that can't be allowed. And I looked and I was like, oh, no, he's got 40-something caps for Liberia.
He's on that list of greatest players to never play in the World Cup.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so at least he got this friendly. There's that. And then the other one I wanted to tell you about, I believe happened today, maybe a couple days ago. It was Gambia's 1-1 draw with Algeria in an African Cup of Nations qualifier.
Why are you laughing?
Because I'm going to say crazy thumbs pointing in all directions for this one. Amongst many other things that I'm not even going to mention, 40,000 fans showed up. The stadium seats 25,000. So you had a good couple hundred fans climbed the floodlights. So they were kind of standing around the floodlights or hanging off the floodlights. You had
I like that they still counted them.
Yeah, of course. And then they were all the way up to the running track, basically. There was so many people, so much so that Algeria refused to come out for 90 minutes because they were not sure about the conditions. They eventually came out. Riyad Mahrez was applauded every time he got the ball. But then it was just other weird moments. What was his name? Ebrima Sona, who started for Gambia, had the national crest, it was clearly a sticker that they had just put on the jersey at the last minute. So everybody else had a nicely stitched in one, and then there's just this big sticker on his chest. They also
sometimes you got to make do.
You know when they do the announcements and they play the anthems and they have the 4 kids holding the flag up and it's a big flag. Algeria's was a giant flag, and then Gambia's appeared to be one that they just found. So it was a third of the size. It was just a lot of weird moments outside of the result, which again was 1-1 in the qualifier.
I mean, it just sounds like maybe the Gambian Federation doesn't have that much money.
That could be.
Yeah.
That could be. Also a possibility.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Anything else from the international break?
Yeah, just really quickly, thumbs up, I think hesitantly to UEFA for their announcement that they're planning a 3rd club competition for the 2021 season.
Why thumbs up? Why would we need that?
Because it gets more teams involved. Basically, the plan is to increase the number of clubs involved in European competitions from 80 to 96, and that means reducing the number of teams in the Europa League theoretically, so then all 3 have 32. So I say hesitantly because I like the idea of more teams getting European evenings. It's hesitant to me because
how much attention is going to be on that 3rd tournament, right?
Exactly, and that's where
it's hard enough to get attention on the Europa League.
Yeah, and that's where if it's just more, if it's a not as good Europa League, that's when it goes thumbs down. But if they do something interesting, there's been a lot of people wanting it to be the Cup Winners' Cup again. I don't think that's what's going to be happening. Mm-hmm. But if it is for, I think you suggested maybe it could be 2nd division teams in different countries.
That'd be interesting.
And you just kind of look at other areas that don't get those opportunities and find ways to try to give them European evenings. I think it's good. Theoretically. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, 2021, right? We'll wait and see what the details are as they emerge.
I'm assuming they'll emerge before 2021.
I'm not willing to put my thumbs anywhere in that one. You ready for the Total Soccer Show Scouting Network?
Am I?
Yeah, okay.
We got several to get to.
Okay, where would you like to start?
Let's start with Jonas Lehmann-Karp, scouting Matt Miazga, a 23-year-old American defender for Nantes. Something like that. Matt Miazga, the greatest American center back in generations, says Jonas, featured prominently in USA's 1-0 shutout over Mexico. In addition to putting in another stellar performance and keeping Mexico scoreless, Miazga drew attention for short-shaming 5'6" Lanes's height. Unfortunately, the media focused their attention on the taunt rather than the awful P-word chant some Mexican fans keep using. Let's never let overuse of that chant make us numb to its offensiveness. Time to put that chant to bed.
I agree. I just don't know what can be done. Hasn't the Mexican Federation asked fans to stop doing it?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure what the next step is.
I mean, they're
going to have to really escalate if they want to.
And FIFA came down pretty hard on it, or at least, FIFA never comes down hard on anything, but unless it's England players wearing poppies. But I think during the World Cup, it was definitely much more policed. I don't remember hearing it, at least not after the first game. I think but it seems, I remember asking you during the game, hey, are they done with that chant? And you're like, well, let's wait till the first goal kick. And it was real loud.
Yeah, it was.
Real loud.
Thumbs down.
Yes, thumbs down to that. And also, I'm just going to say it again, it might make people annoyed. Thumbs up to Matt Miazga. And that's all I have to say.
I want to say, I guess we're still doing thumbs, but thumbs down to the weird reaction people have had to the Miazga Lanes moment, where my feeling is they've only looked at the quick gesture and the moment and made it into all these things that it's not.
No.
Because what it was is Lanes fouling Miazga, then stepping to him, and Miazga essentially pointing out, we're not going to have a physical confrontation because I'm 6'4" and you're not. It's not as if he just picked Lanes out from a distance and then went and short-shamed him, right? It was more like a reaction to Lanes stepping to him. And also a smart bit of play from an American defender to escalate the situation without putting himself in trouble.
I would say, to your earlier point, I don't know if it was Lanes who steps. I think Miazga's the one who turns and initiates the conversation. Maybe it's Lanes going at him a little bit more closely or not immediately extricating himself. Either way, I don't think it was...
Lanes catches him first, right? Yeah, and then Miazga turns around.
Yeah.
But he doesn't immediately go to the short thing. It's like once the arguing starts is when he pulls that out.
And what he didn't have was geopolitical and racial and height implications in mind.
Yeah,
I do not believe.
It's nothing bigger. It's just two men getting into a confrontation and one man pointing out that he's much, much bigger.
And you know who agrees with that? Lanes, who came out and said... basically, he was like, yeah, I didn't love it, but like it's what happens in a game. It's fine.
Yeah.
Like he wasn't shaken up about it.
I was thinking, we didn't talk enough about Lanes at the time, but the feistiness that he showed is part of the reason why he's an 18-year-old winger who's playing in Liga MX and playing for Mexico.
And
right?
very good.
Yeah, so that feistiness is part of what makes him good. Miazga's imperiousness is part of what makes him good and the future of American soccer.
Good word.
Yeah. Up next, Patrick Keeler is scouting another player from that game. Anthony Robertson, the 20-year-old American left-back on loan at Wigan from Everton. Patrick says Anthony became famous this past FIFA break. Called into the his third US camp, Anthony started against Brazil. He made some plays, didn't make some others, but was very visibly roasted twice by Douglas Costa. He then got 25 minutes against Mexico, but created more dangerous scoring opportunities for teammates than the whole team had up to that point. We can't back up that data, but it feels okay. Culminating with a perfect pass, flat-footing the entire Mexican backline for Tyler Adams to easily slot home.
Yeah. See yesterday's show for our thoughts on the perfectly weighted pass.
We're not sure it was such a perfect pass.
Not so much. Tom Gaffney.
All's well that ends well.
Yeah, sure. Tom Gaffney scouting James Sands, 18-year-old American defender / midfielder for NYCFC. Seems like midfielder at this point. Sands earned his first starts of his MLS career after a brief stint at USL's Louisville City FC, convinced manager Dom Torrance that Sands was ready. Torrance also praised the youngster's performances in his starts, stating, quote, Jimmy, I like that it's Jimmy Sands, is our future here, and today we found a number 6 for the next year. I think he played with confidence. He played simple. He played like a player who has played 7 years in MLS, end quote.
And he definitely means that as a compliment, right?
I'm assuming so.
Yeah, so Sands has been on our radar for a while, right? Since the U17 World Cup, I believe. I'm really excited for Sands to be playing for NYCFC. He's not suffering the Jonathan Lewis fate.
Let's hope not.
So that's good. Jonathan Holmgren is scouting Foster Langsdorff, the 22-year-old American forward for Portland Timbers 2. Jonathan says, Langsdorff has scored 3 goals in T2's last 4 games, including a brace in a win over rivals S2. That's a lot of numbers in one sentence. Not Jonathan's fault, it's the way the USL is set up.
There's more coming.
With 14 goals in 24 appearances this season, Langsdorff is tied for 5th in the USL Golden Boot race.
He is indeed. More youngsters to keep an eye on.
I'm not sure that's such an accomplishment.
Hey, you never know.
Tied for 5th.
I don't know. There's a lot of teams in the USL and lots of players doing lots of things. Ben Richards scouting Efrain Alvarez, the 16-year-old Mexican-American attacker for the LA Galaxy. Efrain Alvarez has spent the summer continuing his development while playing for both LA Galaxy 2 and the Mexican U17s. He also continues to score impressive goals, such as his go-ahead strike against the Las Vegas Lights. Efrain made a run behind the defense, coolly collected a chip pass from Ariel Lassiter, and popped the ball over the on-rushing keeper and into the net. On the international front, Alvarez gave U.S. fans hope by telling MLSsoccer.com, quote, I could still play for the U.S. or I could keep playing for Mexico, end
what
quote.
A quote. That's such a perfect statement of what the facts are.
Yeah, pretty much. Ben concludes, he also gave a glimpse of the darkest timeline when he scored for a Mexico U17 side as it defeated the U.S. U17s in Costa Rica in August.
Oh, the bad news is we're in that timeline.
Yeah.
Kevin Renshaw is scouting Yanni Serra, the 20-year-old German striker for Holstein Kiel. Kevin says, Yanni Serra transferred from BVB to Holstein Kiel this summer. He's been regularly starting for them, but through 5 matches has just 1 assist and 0 goals. On the positive side, he did start for Germany's U21 team in their friendly against Mexico, scoring the opening goal in a 3-0 win. So
Hooray.
All is not bad for Yanni Serra.
Yeah. Manny Alcantara scouting Junior Firpo, the 22-year-old Spanish-Dominican left-back for Real Betis, who has now declared for Spain. Junior got the start in his debut for the Spanish U21s, playing the full 90 and contributed to a clean sheet as Spain defeated Albania 1-0. Here's one thing I did not know. Firpo's play seems to have impressed Pep Guardiola, as it has been widely reported in both English and Spanish media that the Manchester City manager had assigned scouts to observe Firpo's performances for both club and country. Rumors suggest that Manchester City are interested in transferring for Firpo as early as January, followed by an immediate loan move, possibly back to Real Betis. Don't do it, Junior. Don't do it.
I think that would work out. I mean, Betis get the money and he gets to stay. And they get to keep him.
For one season. And then he goes and sits behind almost certainly Benjamin Mendy.
But Man City's average fee paid for fullbacks is pretty high, so that might be a lot of money for Betis.
Well, that'd be good for them. Yeah.
I think they just pay 50 million every time. Zach Rose is scouting Ronaldo Vieira, the 20-year-old English midfielder for
At a certain point, that is going to be a bargain. 50 million every time.
Like a year from now.
Yeah.
Ronaldo Vieira, the 20-year-old English midfielder for Sampdoria. Zach Rose says Ronaldo Vieira made his Serie A debut in Sampdoria's surprise 3-0 win over Napoli, coming on in the 84th. He then earned a yellow card 4 minutes later, showing that you can, in fact, take the boy out of Leeds, but you can't take the Leeds out of the boy.
Well said. Robert Newman, as Daryl almost falls off his chair laughing. Robert Newman scouting Mason Mount, the 19-year-old English central midfielder on loan at Derby County from Chelsea.
What's he done this time?
Mason Mount earned his first call-up to the England U21 team over this international break. He started on the left side of England's 4-2-3-1 against Latvia. Mount had a phenomenal debut in that 2-1 victory, assisting Tammy Abraham with a cross for a header for England's first goal, scoring the winner by slotting into the left side netting with 17 minutes remaining. England are now 8 points clear in their group for European Championship qualifying with 2 matches remaining.
So they've definitely qualified then, right?
It would seem that way.
That's what the math says.
Unless the final 2 are like 5 points each.
Okay. Mason Mount, definitely a name worth remembering from what we understand. Matt Koss is scouting Lucas Toussaint, the 21-year-old French midfielder for Lyon. You probably don't pronounce the T on the end of that, is my guess. Please don't email me. According to many unofficial reports, Toussaint is being scouted by Inter as a cheaper, second-choice alternative to Luka Modric. Toussaint is currently under contract with Lyon until 2022.
All right. Brian Gardner scouting Moise Kean, 18-year-old Ivorian Italian forward for Juventus. Keane will struggle to see the pitch this season for Juventus.
Once again.
Especially as the old lady recently added some Portuguese guy. Keane had a good summer for the Italian U19s, scoring 4 goals, including 2 in 2 minutes against Portugal in the Euro U19 final. He was also named to the team of the tournament.
Todd Ito is scouting Takefusa Kubo, the 17-year-old Japanese attacker on loan at Yokohama F. Marinos from FC Tokyo. Todd says Takefusa Kubo has been with the Japanese U19s for their tour of Mexico. They played several friendlies, including a 1-1 draw with Mexico, 1-1 draw with Brazil, and a 3-1 win over Club America.
There we go.
Kubo was reportedly very active in the attack in all 3 matches, played his part in earning a penalty against Mexico, and scored Japan's 3rd goal against Club America.
The best name in the scouting network, Takefusa Kubo. So thank you to Todd, Brian, Matt, Robert, Zach, Manny, Kevin, Ben, Jonathan, Tom, Patrick, and Jonas for those reports.
And thank you to everybody who is part of the Total Soccer Show Schedule Network. It helps support the Total Soccer Show.
It occurs to me, it's probably Jonas. It probably is Jonas, but we're going to stick with Jonas until we hear otherwise.
Who are you talking about?
Jonas Lehmann-Karp. It's probably Jonas Lehmann-Karp.
Oh, I guess we'll find out soon.
Yeah.
We'll find out.
I don't know why we've both gone Jonas, but we have.
I think because we pronounce too many German and Dutch player names.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So thank you to everybody for supporting us with the Total Soccer Show Scouter Network. Taylor Rockwell, thank you for taking the time to talk to me today.
Right back at you, buddy.
Listeners, thank you very much for listening. We appreciate every single listen, every single download. We know other podcasts are available. But we'll be recording more of this one, so check back tomorrow for another Total Soccer Show.
Do it.